Another 3-page Google Doc. It's the off season, Reed.
I was trying to think of one word to describe today's episode. What would that be, Paul?
Not jam packed.
It's packed. We got a packed episode today.
Go.
Happy Trevor Lawrence Day. As people are listening to this, it's Friday, the 12th. It's Trevor Lawrence Day, apparently, pro day. They're going to be scouting. So I hope Trevor Lawrence's hair doesn't draw too many viewers away, because we drop our episode literally the time that it's Trevor Lawrence Day.
Well, I mean, why does he need a pro day? We already know he's all elite with the cons down in Jacksonville. Why do we need a pro day?
I mean, this guy, what I would do to live in his shoes for a day. I mean, it just must be nice. Just everyone loves you, gorgeous hair. Just, is he married? Does he have a girlfriend?
Looking like one of the Hanson brothers. Yeah. I don't know if he's married or
got a girlfriend. Down, man. That's like Patrick.
I'm not writing an A&E biography on the guy. So.
Well, it's like Patrick Mahomes. You know, they got locked down early, him and his wife. You know, I mean, you got to get them when they're. You got to get. And I know she's kind of crazy, but I've heard some things this week.
Can I say this though?
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad the Chiefs did not win the Super Bowl, because I wasn't subjected to a Jackson Mahomes TikTok video.
Yeah, I'm very glad. If it got us Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi on the boat parade and Gronk dancing shirtless, I am there for it.
Oh. That reminds me, I saw something on Twitter today, and people were saying that Tom Brady throwing the Lombardi was white privilege somehow, some way. And I'm like, okay, I'm a firm believer in the idea of white privilege. I don't want to get too political. I know it exists because I'm a brown man and I've seen it in action. But throwing a trophy is white privilege now? On what planet is that correct?
No, I heard that it just made people feel more that for the first time he felt human, you know, getting drunk, stumbling off the boat, being like everyone's been that guy, been carried off a boat, you know, or out of a club or out of a bar, you know.
He's never had that look.
Yeah.
He's never really had that look like, oh, I'm losing my, and did you see his tweet afterward? It was like misspelled and capital, like tequila, avocado tequila or something. Tom, gotta love it. He's just steering into it now.
You're gonna have to edit yourself. You dropped a swear word. Never before.
Did I?
Yeah. There you go. Spend all that time adding the intro music to the beginning of the podcast.
I was trying to save myself some time in post, okay. But now it's all ruined.
It's all ruined. So I warned Paul at the beginning. I got just a slight rant today going into this. Paul was making fun of me again. We got a lot of stuff on the show, 3 pages on the Google Doc. I heard 10 minutes last night of the most asinine drivel of a XFL podcast I've ever heard in my life. One of our listeners to the show sent it over. He said, and I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. He goes, hey man, I heard this news. And we're new to the XFL game, right? I mean, not the fans and stuff, but the podcast. I know that other podcasts have been around for a long time. So I know that there is levels of speculation and coming up with stuff and trying to fill time, and we have no news, and we're going to get into that too about the anniversaries and everything. But you can't just say whatever you want and then say just speculating. It'd be like if I was making fun of you and like said something to me, it's like just kidding. And I heard this, and as someone that I spend a lot of time on this podcast. I spend a lot of time putting things together. Paul and I are both journalists. I professionally, right? I mean, I was a journalist. Paul is professionally a journalist. And so, every once in a while, like with the Josh Johnson thing, we get things wrong. We correct them. It's never intentional. But just to come out and spread like fake news and speculation on a platform, and then to have listeners then ask them about it and go, oh yeah, we just kind of made that up. That's not... that's everything that I don't want this podcast to be. And so I'm kind of like, man, I hope we never come across as that or whatever, because that makes everybody look worse when people like that exist and do that.
I think what we do is we try to mix in a good amount of news and opinion, but we never like state anything as fact. Like we speculate. It's okay to speculate. It's not okay to just go, well, I heard X quarterback is being traded to Y team, without any proof to back that up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing in reporting rumors. Anytime you see someone like on ESPN report a rumor, they always say they have a source that says this, There are always like some sources behind the actual reporting. Unless, of course, you're the Arizona men's basketball team, then Mark Schlabach just made the whole story up. I didn't hear any of the tapes. Blah blah blah. I'm going to get off on a tangent there, because that's a story for another time. But if you're going to be in this podcast environment and cover the stories and cover the news of the XFL, don't throw BS out there. Just
Yeah, I mean it. And like I said, I get, people are waiting on news, and everyone wants everything. Everyone's hungry for everything. I would rather come out and say, we got nothing to talk about this week. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. What do you think? And at least, sell your personalities and the reasons that people are listening to your show, then feel the need to, broadcast and then just like pure. I had to turn it off. I was like, this is like offensive to me as someone that does that. So I don't want to get too whatever and turn people off, but I just know that I do spend a lot of time. We do spend a lot of time. We work, we talk with XFL writers that do spend a lot of time on this. And so anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way and just know if you do appreciate what we do, the work, we got all this stuff. I spend a lot of time on this. XFLshow.com/review. We really appreciate getting new reviews on the podcast. XFLshow.com/review. We got Spring League stuff today. We've got XFL stuff, and we've got Fan Control Football stuff. And so if you appreciate the work that we're doing, I would appreciate that you, it means a lot to me to get that in return.
And can I say this? I give you crap about the Google Doc being 3 pages all the time, but no one works harder on this podcast than Reed. I show up, basically. I read the stuff that Reed posts. He spends probably, I want to say,
too much.
He's constantly involved in it. And then that's the thing. I give him crap for the 3-page Google Doc. But honestly, if it weren't for that meticulous nature that Reed has had with this podcast, it wouldn't be anywhere near as successful as it, somewhat is right now. So, all credit goes to you. And I wanted to take that time and show you my appreciation for all the hard work you're doing, because I know you do a lot. You run a business, you've got a family, you do a lot. So, again, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Even though I give you a hard time.
That's okay. So first question today, Paul, if I started a business, let's say Reed starting Best Made Video, starting a video production company. If I haven't shot a video yet, does that company still exist?
Yes.
So last week, we got nothing to talk about. We do the big Toasty in the XFL, 21 and Brian. It's like a gimmick, something to talk about. First comments, idiots, the league kicked off 20 years ago. You guys are dumb.
Is that what happened to us?
Yes, Vince McMahon announced the league 21 years ago. I don't want to get into the whole when does life begin and when does life end, but I'm just saying that if Vince announced the thing in 2020, I consider 2021 the 21-year anniversary. I'm just saying. Do you disagree? I mean, we did a whole podcast about it.
It was like we specifically said XFL 1.0. Like we specifically said that.
But the thing was that the XFL 1.0 kicked off in 2001 and not 2020. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way, that just because, that means right now the XFL doesn't exist, XFL 2.1 or whatever, because they haven't kicked. No, it still exists. It's still there.
It's a corporate entity.
Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah. It's an LLC or whatever. Paul, so Sunday, Monday, I got a lot of Facebook memories this week of us in our time in DC for the kickoff of the XFL. Are you surprised that we got no acknowledgement at all of the 1-year anniversary of the first kickoff from any current XFL ownership?
I'm not surprised in terms of that, because I think that they want to start fresh again. They want to keep the heritage, but start fresh in a way. So I think that's why you didn't see anything acknowledged.
That's right. I mean, I'm genuinely curious.
They're picking and choosing what parts to keep in motion in the collective conscience, so to speak. So I think that I'm not surprised, and I do think they should have acknowledged it, but maybe their Twitter accounts weren't verified enough to maybe they forgot their passwords. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we just having, I was posting videos of us from the thing. Cole Boozer was liking it, friend of the show. I mean, it was just nice to kind of relive that. I saw a lot of players posting, and they keep us in mind when you come back and all this stuff. And so I just would have been cool just to see a happy birthday or something from the XFL.
What we should have done for this week's episode, we should have got the World War II Cold Era spy to come on. There was this guy sitting next to us at the DC game. He was dressed like a 1940s spy. he was getting the secret intel from Russia or some stuff. It was funny.
Yeah, Paul and I, row 2 at the Defenders kickoff at Audi Field. Yeah, we have this guy in full trench coat and hat. Looked like he was not
gloves and everything.
Yeah, it's like this guy does not belong here at all. This XFL.
He was really excited to be there, though. He was like smiling the whole time. He was having a great time. You had your jacket. I didn't have a jacket. It's all good.
Yeah, Van says if you make him if you get him a printable Wildcats logo, he will give you a jersey.
I'll work on
that. So big news. I would say lead story is I keep, anytime I think about this, I think about like the Return of the King, like it's Rudy, it's our king, it is Taylor Heinicke. Officially has signed. I saw pen to paper inked on Instagram. He signed a 2-year deal with the Washington football team.
That means they want to try to see if he can contend for the starter job. That's what it means to me.
No, it doesn't. And if you just speculated. No, but I do. If you look at the details of the contract, because at first blush it does. It's like Taylor signs 8 point. I think it's like 8.7 whatever million. If you look here, did you look at I sent over these details of the actual contract that come out. So for 2021, he gets $1 million, $500,000 guaranteed. Not too bad of a day. I think he bought dinner for his family last night, is what I heard. And then it's a bunch of game day, so he can get up to $31,250 per game. If they win, they win the regular season. Team makes the playoffs. If they wins the playoffs, so there's all these incentives built in. He gets $1 million signing bonus, not too shabby there. And then it escalates a little bit in 2022, so it's a $1.5 million salary. And then some incentives that way. So it's not like, I would take any contract with the Washington football team, but it's not, so just to put that in context, it's very much just a backup quarterback contract.
That's clearly, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry for putting that speculation out there, but let's be honest though, if Taylor ends up winning the job, and if he does, because you never know, he could win the job. If he wins the job, Washington's getting him at a very good rate. Very good rate. And if I'm doing the math correctly, the 2022 salary is $750K guaranteed because the roster bonuses are the other $750. So that's a great contract for Taylor. I think it's a great contract for Washington. There's no losers here. Everyone's winning.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. I think that the other speculation that I saw was it's funny to note that after the Chiefs struggled against the Buccaneers on Sunday in the Super Bowl, you go back and you go, hey, Taylor played, and I know it's the apples and whatever, but Taylor held his own against the Buccaneers that were the Super Bowl winning champions. And so it is just interesting to note that as well, that he played really well, was in with Rivera, is in with management. There's just a lot of people rooting on Taylor, obviously including us. And so just really proud of him. And whoever would have thought that the backup, Battlehawks QB a year ago, the first games were this weekend, a year ago today, and now he's on the Washington football team under a 2-year deal. Just phenomenal.
And to point it out, his quarterback rating in the 2020 playoffs against Tampa Bay was the highest any quarterback had against the Tampa Bay defense. It's true.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, I still want to get him, and I might have to now, or I'm definitely going to get a Heinicke Washington football jersey now. I know they're like changing the name back or whatever, but if they could be selling the Washington football jerseys right now, I would really like to get one with the Heinicke.
Okay, next story on tap here is a Redbird getting into Wasserman Media. Can you tell us why this was?
Yeah, so this just came out today. It was retweeted by a bunch of XFL News. Redbird Capital, they're the investing company with Danny and The Rock and the XFL stuff. And so I didn't know if you knew this Wasserman Media, but it seemed like it was a big deal. Jared Cardinal, they're 30 to 40% of the valuation. I was hoping that you would know more of the details if I said those.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how this relates to the XFL right now, other than Redbird Capital being involved in it.
Well,
I don't know what Wasserman Media does, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, I was trying. I saw some last minute news. I saw some other media posting about it.
Sorry about that. I wish I had more.
I just didn't want this to come out tomorrow and have Van or someone go, Didn't you see the news about the Wasserman Media purchase? So we're reporting on it. Redbird Media, investment company with the XFL, Danny and the Rock. They are buying into Wasserman Media 30 to 40% of the stake. I just want it to be in the show, so there's no Van. I don't want to hear anything about it. So we are reporting on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. This is good. I just wanted to be on the record that we talked about it on the show.
Okay.
That's good.
It looks like there's going to be another court date for the logos that the NFL oil derrick logo situation with the Roughnecks. Does that cover that does cover the face logo too?
Man.
Oh, the man logo date is now, according to Josh Davis, the man logo response date is now March 30th, where the other one, the oil derrick, is March 8th.
Yeah, I think because I took both sides from that. I took that either they both got extended to the 30th. Josh wasn't clear in the information presented, but it sounds like they're going to settle. It sounds like they're postponing it because they're having some settlement agreements. So, I know there was a lot of concern about that changing. I would just have given up. I don't get what the point is of dragging all this out for just the XFL to admit wrong. Josh didn't seem to think that any money was going to change hands or anything was going to change. So it just kind of wanted the NFL just to a slap on the wrist kind of thing. It just seemed odd to me to go through all this work for that to be the end goal. And
I don't think that the NFL should hold old trademarks against the new company. I just don't think it's a new company. Let's just let it go. They'll change the logo. I guarantee they don't want to be in hot water with the NFL. They'll change the logo. I don't see any money changing hands here.
You do see, Josh seemed to think they would. You do think that they'll change the logo still? I do.
Totally. I don't see why they wouldn't. They don't want the headache, man.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you just want to flex it, move on, and I think there's a million other alternatives you could come up with. I think you got too cute by half trying to replicate and do all that, and
So also happening around the NFL, dealing with old XFL quarterbacks, there's still some questions to be answered at the quarterback level, at the quarterback position in Carolina. Do you know what's happening here? It looks like a lot of stuff was potentially happening.
Yeah, the Panthers were really trying to get Matthew Stafford. They were offering first-round picks and Teddy Bridgewater for that. Just interesting. I don't know. Would Stafford be better than Bridgewater?
Yeah.
You do?
The reason why Stafford hasn't been great in Detroit is because he hasn't had the weapons in Detroit. Detroit doesn't believe in a thing called an offensive line. They never have. Ask Barry Sanders all about that. And Barry was able to get the numbers he was able to get without an offensive line. That tells you how good Barry Sanders was. Some younger listeners don't understand how great Barry Sanders was. He would have been the all-time GOAT at running back if it weren't for his early retirement, because Detroit just didn't do anything to help protect him. So I think if Stafford had come around, I want to say, in the Megatron era where Detroit picked 3 wide receivers, first-round picks right in a row. If Stafford had the weapons in Detroit, we'd be talking about a different Detroit team. But they've never put the weapons around Stafford to make him successful in Detroit. So, he's a great quarterback. It's an upgrade from Goff in Los Angeles. And the NFC's on notice. I had a friend who posted something the other day. He's like, watch, the Cardinals are going to make the Super Bowl. And I'm like, they're not going to win the division, let alone finish second in the division. Possibly, they won't even finish third in the division because the Niners are going to be good. They're going to be good. So Stafford to the Rams is going to make the Rams that much better. The Seahawks better watch out. They better shore up that defense and watch out because the Rams are going to be good now that Stafford has weapons around him. I digress.
No, that's fine. And yeah, Russell was talking the other day. He's not happy about getting hit so much. I do love on
that too.
Yeah, I do love on the sports shows when I watch Good Morning Football every day. Seahawks, West Coast get very little love there, and I do love when they use the Russell Wilson. That whole soundbite, like, hey, we're talking about Russell Wilson, all this, and it's like a segue to Stafford and Dak Prescott and everything else. It's like, you could actually use the Russell Wilson soundbite to talk about Russell Wilson and the Seahawks.
You would think. You would think. And did you know that Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw played sports together? I don't know if you heard that 3,424 times.
I think we need that and the weekend meme shared some more. That would be great if we could get the thing. But anyway, it is interesting. We have been talking about the Carolina PJ Walker situation for ad nauseum now, forever. And it was interesting when all this came out and XFL News Hub and Matt, we're featured over there. Matt wrote an article about the whole PJ Walker turmoil. I'm like, yeah, we have been talking about that for weeks. Welcome to the board. I don't know if I would like to think that they listen to the podcast, maybe not, but we have been talking about the PJ Walker thing. I want to get Sheena back on when, there's nothing really right now, like in cement to talk about. But yeah, they're shopping around Teddy. They're trying to get Stafford. This other thing, Teddy won like another sportsman award, this Art Rooney. People love Teddy Bridgewater. That's the thing is like Rule doesn't seem to like him. He can't win football games, but he is winning all these like press awards. He won the Art Berry Good Guy Award or whatever we talked about before. I mean, people love Teddy Bridgewater.
He seems to be a really nice guy from all intents and purposes. Everything I hear seems to be a really nice guy. I just think he's put into a situation where he can't win no matter what. Like, even if they went 8-8, you've got two teams in that NFC South that are monsters. You're not going to get past the Bucks while Brady's there. And you're not going to get past the Saints. Well, you don't know. Drew Brees, you don't know.
With Jameis, you think Jameis is going to?
Jameis is not a.
They're in on Jameis though. I mean, they're in on Jameis.
They're in on him.
And they're crazy. That is. And
I got to tell you this, and people are going to be like, what? You're going to see Jameis. I honestly think this is what I think the Saints should do. The Saints, Jameis is fine, but the Saints probably need a pocket passer type of quarterback. And then you can switch that pocket passer type of quarterback out with Taysom Hill every once in a while if he's still under contract.
Taysom.
Running the Wildcat. I like Taysom Hill's game. I think he's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I will never forgive them for taking Alvin Kamara's. Could have the record there. I had to give Taysom that QB run on Christmas Day. I mean, Kamara would have had 7 rushing touchdowns if they wouldn't have given Taysom Hill that.
You know how upset my friend Sandra is about that.
She's
still complaining about it.
Still upset about it.
Happened in week 16. Still upset.
Anyway, last night about PJ. It's crazy. I think he will probably stick around there as a backup, but I don't anticipate seeing him a lot. I mean, especially if they make a big move, bring in somebody else. PJ Walker is not seeing any time at all. I mean, that's not an ideal situation for us. We have Heinicke now that we're kind of following on that round, but it is unfortunate with all that going on with PJ.
So apparently the Panthers were offering the first round pick in Teddy Bridgewater for Matthew Stafford. That wasn't going to happen because Jared Goff is a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. And, the Lions took the better quarterback. Yeah. Makes sense.
Just a note here, Austin Walter signs a 1-year extension with the 49ers. He was with the Renegades, so just kind of keeping some eyes on that. The other big news, and I guess we should have plugged this at the beginning of the show. Obviously, we have Quentin Flowers, former XFL Tampa Bay Vipers QB, and he's with this Fan Control Football now. He's coming up on the show. We talked with him after practice the other day. His teammate, Taylor Cornelius, who was one of the quarterbacks with the Vipers, signed up in the Canadian Football League, and he's up there with, remember we talked last week about the Vipers coach that got signed up there? Jamie Elizondo. So Cornelius is joining Jamie up in the CFL. So it's all connected. So there you go.
Be careful on that turf, Taylor, because the Canadian Football League turf is rough on your knees. And I wanted to say this too. We were talking about Russell Wilson. Yeah. The Seahawks are not trading Russell Wilson. No. Stop dreaming.
No, absolutely not. It is interesting. But so with all this, and we get into, I know we had a lot of, I posted earlier in the week, we had, Quinton coming on, a lot of questions about him with the Spring League and him with the Vipers, because he has a little bit of like kerfuffle following him a little bit. We didn't get into all the Spring League stuff. I kind of know that story, so if you're really interested in that, I had a couple of people message me. Just we can talk about that offline. Didn't want to like bombard him with like, what was all the drama with the Vipers? What was all the drama with the Spring League? What was all the we're trying to like he's in Fan Control Football. We're trying to talk about that, but with the Vipers, it is interesting because he did have the issue with that with Trestman. We get into all of that. Cornelius kind of got that QB role. Flowers thought that he should have got that instead. Obviously, now we'll see how he performs in fan control football, and Cornelius does up in the CFL. So it's just kind of interesting. But that was kind of the beef. We get into that a little bit at the end with Quinton and the Mark Trestman thing and all of that. So just if you don't know that story, if you're not a XFL fan, that's kind of the issue, is that they had 3 quarterbacks: Aaron Murray, Cornelius, and then Quentin Flowers. And he thought that, he felt like he should have got the playtime. So
I think that makes for a perfect segue. Let's take a break, come back, talk to Quentin Flowers right here on the XFL Markcast. All right, now we got Quentin Flowers, former XFL player. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Can't complain. How about yourself?
We're doing great. We're going good. You guys staying safe over there?
Yes, sir.
Good to hear.
I told Quentin, I said, we are so excited to get him on because he strikes the perfect chord of all the different, as an XFL podcast, even though fan control football doesn't always seem too excited to be talking about XFL stuff, we are still an XFL podcast covering it. So how did you get involved in all this? Did they reach out to you? How did you find out about the Fan Control Football League?
Honestly, I've been getting emails from my Sean Lynch like over and over. Honestly, at first, I did not think this was a real league, honestly, because I've been getting this email for like years. And I'm like, man, I don't know if this is a real league. I don't know if this thing even going to start. So my agent finally hit me up and was like, hey, they want you to play ball. They really want you. They really want to see, your work. And at the end of the day, I was like, football is football. I'm still chasing my dream. I still want that shot. Just go over here and do what you got to do, no matter what it takes. And that what made me come over.
Cool. You started for the Zappers Saturday on the scrimmage. What was that like? And when did you find out you were going to be playing?
I found out, I'll say a week, 2 weeks after my birthday. I found out that I would be coming over here to FCF football and, just try to see some of the guys that's over here and doing whatever it takes to get back to where I'm supposed to be. So once I got here, at first they were saying it was 7-on-7. First thing came to mind, I'm like, 7-on-7, like, this is not my type of thing. But at the end of the day, I looked at it as this could be your shot back to where you're supposed to be. You got to take full advantage of every opportunity you get. And just for me to get back in the quarterback world, the place I love to be, it's just been fun. The coaches, been working with me with my mechanics. Coach Jenkins, let me know what I'm doing wrong and what I'm not doing with my feet. So I just try to take everything. But yeah, so it's just like going to school. You back at square one. You got to learn everything all over again. So at the end of the day, I was just training during the off season with my quarterback coach, Coach OB. And once I got here, I just locked in and stayed focused.
You played really well on Saturday. You had a couple TDs. I think you had a rushing TD as well in the scrimmage. What was it like? Obviously a different look and feel than a normal NFL, XFL, game. What was it like playing in that arena on the field and everything going on?
Man, in that arena, it just everything happened quicker and everything happened faster. So it helps me build up, my mechanics and work on things like intermediate routes, quick routes, defense moving quicker than, it's supposed to because everything condensed. So with me going through that, it was very fun just being out there and being able to, read the little coverages again that they have and making my man-to-man throws and giving my guys opportunity to just have fun.
What are your feelings on some of the other rules and changes you've seen that have been different from regular football as opposed to this?
When they first told me about you got to have 1 feet in, I'm like, that's not what I'm used to. 2 feet. If you say these guys pros, let these guys be pros, and 2 feet should be my thing.
For receiving catches,
it'll make these guys. Yes, it'll make these guys better. It'll make me better just by where I'm supposed to put the ball. To where these guys can get their 2 feet in. So it's a lot of rules changing. You mostly have to roll out the pocket most of the time. which is basic, but a lot of the dropbacks is different. That's my thing. I feel like they breaking a lot of rules, but at the end of the day, if you're a quarterback, you should be able to adapt to anything that comes your way.
But to that point, it's the fans that are voting on some of these rule changes to do these various things. So, there's exactly like Reed's doing right there.
Yeah,
for the fans, but at the same time, it's causing you a little bit of an adjustment, or maybe a big adjustment too.
Yes, sir. I'll say it's a little minor. It's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, football is football. If you're a ball player, you're a ball player. Like I always say, if you're a dog, you go be a dog. You go find a way to ball. You go find a way to do what you have to do on the field, off the field, no matter what it is. So that's my biggest thing. Whatever the coach tells me, whatever it is, whatever the fans want to see, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go out there and do whatever it takes just to put on a show and be the best I can be.
I know that when they announced, and especially, when you got in there, they announced a lot of the players coming down for the bubble. I would say you're definitely at one of the higher levels just in terms of name recognition of players, right, that are being involved in this. Would you say that's accurate? And how do you feel about that?
Yes, I'll say accurate, but at the end of the day, I don't down talk no one. At the end of the day, everybody came from somewhere. Everybody been down before. Everybody probably did not get that shot. So at the end of the day, you can go out there and play against the best defense and no telling what will happen. So at the end of the day, like I say, you have to be a baller. You have to go out there and get your job done. So with the guys that's been here, DeAndre Francois, Johnny Manziel, at the end of the day, football is football, and we have to do what we have to do once we're on the field.
Did you feel when we saw the scrimmage come up on Saturday and you were out there playing as QB, did you take that as a vote of confidence that you were the first person? Obviously I think the league has put a lot of attention behind Manziel. He just flew in last week. He was in quarantine, right? He wasn't able to play. Do you think that was that they chose you specifically to go out there and be the first quarterback for a reason because you have a lot of the experience maybe to perform?
I'll say yes. Lately, I have been going up first with everything, even though it's new rules. Like I say, I still have to adapt, which I did. I went out there, I think it was like 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing myself. That's just me being comfortable, me knowing what I have to go out here and do. If it's there, why not take that shot? You feel me? So it's like, it's just me being back in that quarterback world it's a relief. It's me. It's me being me. It's me having fun. When people tell you what you can and what you can't do, I was in the NFL as a running back. I used to have to talk to myself every day like, hey, you got to go out here and be you. You have to find a way to get comfortable. You have to find a way to make this team. You have to adapt. That's just me. No matter where you at, you have to adapt to what's going on. So I used to tell myself as a running back, it's either they're going to hit you or you're going to hit them. Which one you're going to be? You either go be the hammer or the nail. And I don't want to be that nail to where you think you could take shots on me all day. You can do whatever you want to me all day. No, at the end of the day, I'm going to figure it out. And when I figure it out, that's going to be your problem.
So some Beast fans are calling for ownership to use their franchise tag on you. How do you feel about that?
I love it. I love it at the end of the day because you have to understand. And like I always tell people, I don't use it, to get publicity or anything. I don't care about the fame. I don't care about this type of stuff. But the things that I've been through and I'm still not giving up, like a lot of people would have been gave up. A lot of people would have stopped. A lot of people would have said, oh, I can't take this no more. But at the end of the day, what you going to leave your legacy as? That's how I look at it. I had a chance to go to big schools. I had a chance to do all these type of things, but it's about creating your own legacy and being you, not being what people want you to be. They're going to love you. They're going to hate you at the end of the day. And deep inside, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you have to get done. And that's me. I have to be real. Real is real. You don't come across a lot of real people. A lot of real people would tell you exactly what they're going to do and make it happen. And that's just me. I have to give it blood raw. I have to be real with you. Coach, if you don't like me, just tell me that. Just be upfront with me. That's me. I'm not going to change my way towards you. I'm not going to disrespect you because at the end of the day, real is real.
So just a little context here, we're talking to you on Monday. They're going to be doing the draft here on Wednesday. Our episode's airing Friday. We just found out today that Jordy Erdman got tagged from the Wild Aces to be their quarterback. Have you been in talks with any of the teams about coming on? I know a lot of people want you to go with the Beast, with Marshawn. Have you talked to anybody about specific teams?
I just talked to I'll say Marshawn Lynch. I think he wanted me to be a part of his team. He just told me just wait and see, just be patient. But at the end of the day, I don't care if I get franchise tag or not. I'm still gonna go out there and ball like I know I will. So all that franchise tagging and that don't mean nothing. You still have to go out there and ball at the end of the day. So you can get franchise tag today and not be franchise tag. You feel me? After that. So it's still on you. You still have to go out there and perform. You still have to go out there and make these throws. At the end of the day, I don't care about that. I just want to play football. I want to be me. Let me be me, and we're gonna have fun.
On that note, after you get out of the fan controlled football environment, what are you looking at next year? Are you looking at another NFL opportunity or potentially going back to the XFL, given if it starts on the 2022 deadline that they're setting forth?
Honestly, I want to get back in the NFL, but at the end of the day, I got to leave that up to God because with the way my life been going, I was in the NFL, I was working hard, got released. I've been going through stuff with the XFL. I know you guys probably know that. Coach Tresman told me I won't ever play football again. So it's like, once he told me that, I haven't been on the field. It's my first time being back on the field, actually playing contact again. So it's like, it's a lot of things that I've been through. I'm just ready, whoever going to give me that opportunity to lead a team or just even give me that shot to just be me. I'm just ready for whatever call comes first.
Yeah, just about that, and you don't feel like you gotta say anything you don't want to talk about. But I did follow all that, with the Vipers and everything, and leaving and coming back. Any final thoughts on the XFL in general about that first run back in 2000?
I would say it was helping a lot of people because you got to think about it too. Guys who was coming out of college not getting the opportunity, and the XFL coming open, that was big for a lot of people, guys like me. When I came out the NFL, I didn't know what my next move was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to get picked up or not. So the XFL, I pray it comes back and guys get opportunities to play football again. Guys get opportunity to be on the field again. And I just pray, hey, they come my way and call saying that they want me to be a starter or give me a shot. I'm ready.
I just want to touch back on that. I guess I kind of missed that whole issue with Trestman. What you got let go and you came back. That's what I'm hearing, right? That's what happened with your situation. Was it Trestman that let you go?
Yes.
Was it Trestman that said that when he initially let you go, that you would never play football again?
Yes.
Then
so
why
he made me come back? It's a whole big thing, but like I said, there's nothing against Coach Tresman. There's nothing against them coaches that was there. I just wanted to play football. Fans seen it for themselves. Players seen it for themselves. I just wanted my shot, and I never got it.
That's rather unfortunate, man. I'm really sorry that they say it's a business, but at the end of the day, like when people say stuff like "you'll never ever play football again," that's still personal, and I feel really bad that happened to you, and I'm glad you're getting another chance to prove them all wrong.
Yes, sir. Just taking it one day at a time. That's all you can do.
Good to hear.
Any other final thoughts? Anything? You're having a good time. You're staying safe in quarantine. Have you had a chance to interact with Johnny Manziel yet? I think today would maybe be the first day he would actually be on the practice field. Have you seen him at all?
No, I didn't get to see him at all. It was a full team. I don't think he came out today. I didn't see him today, so I don't know when he'll come out of quarantine or when he'll be at practice.
Very cool. Well, Quentin Flowers, we appreciate your time. We'll be watching you this year in the Fan Control Football League. Also, going forward, if you get another shot in the NFL, we'll definitely hope to have you back on and talk about your experiences going forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, take care and stay safe. Thanks for coming on.
Sir.
Yes, sir. You guys too.
Want to thank Quentin Flowers for dropping by on the Markcast and talking about his time with XFL, of course, and how everything's going with Fan Control Football.
It is interesting. Yeah, so we recorded that on Monday. The draft happened last night as of recording, Friday as of the show airing. Quentin was the first pick of the Beast. Very happy for that. He had talked in the interview, yeah, I've been talking with Marshawn and I've been texting him. So we kind of knew where that was leaning anyway. I mean, it wasn't official until now, but it is good. I'm glad that we snagged him, making time after practice. It's hard for these players because, they're in the camps all day, they're doing all this stuff and then making time. So, all the players, Jordy, Quentin, taking the time to come on these podcasts. I really do appreciate that because I know that they're crazy running around doing a bunch of stuff. So.
Definitely. So with that being said, let's go to Fan Control Football now. You're saying they had about 500 viewers for the scrimmage. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So here's my first talking point about this. And then I watched the scrimmage. I watched all this stuff this week. There's a lot of Fan Control stuff. Sorry, guys. So the scrimmage did about 500 viewers. It got leaked. So that was the big drama on Saturday was we knew that they were going to do these scrimmage test games. Fan Control Football came out and said, we're not going to broadcast these, they're testing out production and stuff. And a bunch of the players ended up leaking. It was streaming on a separate Fan Control Football had a backup stream account. It was FCF_05 or whatever. And basically it leaked the games. And so I don't know how many people they wanted to be on that. I certainly imagine it was less than the 500 that were watching it. I think they didn't want that many people watching it because they were testing out, camera stuff. They were testing out production stuff. They very much was not meant for broadcast, right? A lot of talking to producers off camera. You could hear a lot of different things. And so, but honestly, it looked really good. They had about 5,000 combined between the Kind of Funny and the Fan Control Football at the peak for the draft, which was last night. And I was talking, we'll get into more of the numbers later. I was talking with Matt Clements, one of the guys that works with me. He thinks that's really good numbers. He thought for a draft, because Matt lives on Twitch all the time. I don't know how to judge Twitch viewership and all that. He thought that was a really commendable number for basically just a draft of people walking out.
Yeah. And was it leaked or was it leaked?
Well, that's the thing. Patrick was on there a lot, friend of the show, Patrick Dees, really doing the Lord's work, trying to carry this broadcast and explain what was going on. I just had some thoughts. I know we're going to watch the games and stuff. We don't have to hit all of these, but they're really trying to hide the fact that there's no fans, right? Because it's just a field. It's really black. I absolutely hate the black end zones. I think it looks terrible. I think it makes the field look short. You have all this black surrounding everything, and then you have the field, and then you have these black end zones with no text at all. Even if it had been FCF and white or whatever, but it makes the field look 10 yards shorter than it would be. You know what I'm saying? Because the ends, it's pitch black.
Fair point.
Seeing the Wild Aces jerseys, I still waiting on mine. We ordered them; they were supposed to be here before the show. I don't like them. It kind of looks like a Gaston shirt. Dorothy and I were talking about the Glacier Boys. I do hate them. They have the best jerseys, even though it looks like the Firecracker popsicles. Other just weird things. We don't have to get into all this, but the whole game is set up. I don't like the kicking. They made a big deal. They're not having the kickers. They made fun of the kickers. I tweeted about this earlier this week. I don't think that and I was going to ask you about this before we got into all the other podcast stuff at the beginning, my other rant. Tweeting constructive criticism is not the same as hating on something. And do you know the difference between hating on something and then criticizing something?
I know the difference.
Yes. And so me saying, I don't think it's prudent for Fan Control Football to make fun of kickers and people that enjoy specialist positions 5 minutes into their broadcast and say, well, we don't need you. We will get other people. Nobody watches football for the kickers. I just wouldn't do that, right? Like I want anybody that would listen to this, podcast, right? I wouldn't be like, well, if you like such and such, then we don't want you here. And it just very much feels that way. And I know that's maybe not that they what they want, but I do think it's a mistake to eliminate the kicking position. I know that you like them eliminating the kicking position. I feel like it feels just like scrimmage all the time. It just doesn't feel like a game because they come out, they start, they go, they come out, they stop, they go. It just doesn't feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, kickoff returns can be explosive. They can be. And they're exciting. Special teams work is exciting. I don't, let's put this in context. When did we know the Seahawks won the Super Bowl? When did we know? 12 seconds into the second half on a kickoff return. That's when we knew the Seahawks were going to beat the Broncos. It was over at that point. Would it have been over have it not been for Percy Harvin running that kickoff back? Probably not. Or probably. I think the Seahawks are going to win regardless.
Yeah.
But that was the nail in the coffin. And that was great special teams work to have that kickoff return that just ended the game. Those kind of playmaking situations can happen when you kick off.
I mean, the game is called football. So I know that there was a lot of controversy when Sam Schwartz's team got brought in to do the XFL rules and all of that. And there was a lot of push for him back when XFL, the first, this go round of version 2, they brought him in, we redid the kickoff, we, redid the clock and all that. And they asked him, they said, we got to get rid of this, we got to get rid of special teams. We got, that's less positions we got to pay. That's less players we got to deal with. That's less whatever. And he goes, the game's football. The game's football. Like you can't get rid of kicking and field goals and all this stuff and maintain the essence of the game. The other big note, I think, we don't have to they set the field up like you're playing Madden and not like you're watching it on TV, if that makes sense. So you're always looking down the field at the end zone like you would be playing Madden, and not, they have a side camera angle, but like even the logo, like the Fan Control Football logo at the 50-yard line is turned, and you always are going to the one end zone. There's no, you could run it back to the other end zone, but every camera is pointed towards the big Titantron that they have with the production stuff.
Interesting.
So it's little tweaks like that. I will say they are very impressed with all their production stuff. I'm not saying it does not look great. I'm saying that is like expected welcome to the club stuff. It's the same thing. We've watched wrestling for years. All these other companies, if you want to compete, you have to look big scale. I'm not saying the TVs and the monitors and all that aren't amazing. They are, but that is like what is expected for people now to turn on to watch a football game. So yeah, I think that's great. They're talking a lot about all that stuff, but again, it was a scrimmage. We'll judge the games on Saturday and Sunday, but they were trying to figure stuff out. They ended up cutting a lot of stuff. They cut the game short because they were just trying to figure out the TV stuff. But it didn't feel like that back and forth you get, kicking the balls, running the balls, doing the punts. There's just so much of the game that's missed out when you're not doing that.
And Dorothy said it was boring. She thinks it's boring.
Dorothy didn't like it. I asked you, and I asked Vince, Alt Football Scout. I said, I don't watch a lot of arena football. Is this arena football? If this is, maybe this isn't for me.
It's the kicking is still in arena football. Yeah, they still have kicking in arena football.
So
they do.
It feels that way. They also do not want to mention the XFL at all. At all. One of the guys last night during the draft when Quentin Flowers came out, they go, he played in the XFL. I'm like, because on the scrimmage they're like, oh, that league we don't want to talk about that. They don't. I'm like, guys, you're gonna have the same viewers. People that are watching the XFL now are the same. Are some of the same people that are going to be watching again. I would, in my first ever beta test, whatever, I wouldn't be turning off fans of any kind. I would not be doing that at all.
This is constructive criticism, folks. Hating would be like, oh God, why are they pushing Roman Reigns on WWE again? That would be hating.
Yeah. We watch wrestling for, 20, whatever, oh, it's fake wrestling. Okay. That is hating, saying hey, I don't like the direction they took this particular character. And I wish that they would have done this instead because such and such, that is a criticism, but that is okay. I did a poll. 87% of our listeners thought the scrimmage was better than they expected. So that's good. I mean, I think, like I said, I think the product looked good. I thought that the draft looked really good. And we'll get into that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think kudos for kind of getting caught with their pants down with having the stream like leaked. Patrick really, I mean, not to like suck up and whatever. I mean, he really did carry a lot of that stuff. And I was like, I tweeted him. I said, man, like I couldn't have done that. And I don't know, you have obviously never called like sporting events before. I mean, I'm sure you've hosted things, but like tremendous work all around that way. I'm sure it was not easy to do that. So.
And some of the tags being handed out, of course, Journey got tagged by the Wild Aces. The Beasts have tagged Troy Evans, who is Marshawn Lynch's cousin. And the Glaciers tagged David Pindell, their quarterback.
And then don't forget the big Mr. Manziel finally threw a couple of passes this week. What do you know? He's trying to come out now and soften it. He's trying to say, like, well, I'm really here as more of a player coach. And I really want to, like, I'm not trying to make a run at this at all. And I really want to whatever. I understand all of that, and that's valuable. I thought they did a better job during the draft highlighting some of the players as they came down. Again, I know the scrimmage wasn't meant for like broadcast, but it really did feel like we talked a lot about like what the Coach Jenkins or whatever, like the lead coach for Fan Control Football. He's kind of a Tiger King looking guy. Like he had like a big jacket and pants and stuff. There was a lot of talk like, oh, isn't that so funny? The coach. I'm like, let's talk about the players. Let's talk about the players. So, I thought the draft, they did a better job highlighting and talking about stats. They flew in a guy to do like actually new football stuff to talk a lot about the players coming in. So that was helpful to really highlight, like Quinton with the XFL and stuff as the players came in.
New Wild Aces owner, of course, Jack Settleman of Snapback Sports.
Do you know him?
I don't.
He's one, I guess he's like a huge, like million, whatever people on Snapchat. It's a good fit. He was on with Greg on the kind of funny Twitch draft thing, I believe. When the Fan Control Football did the draft on last night, they did their whole thing on Fan Control Football, and then kind of funny co-streamed it, and then Austin Eckler did his own. But so it's good. It's good. I think now all the teams have 3 owners apiece, so it feels a little more. You have Miro and Marshawn and Renee, and then you have Greg with Austin, and then Jack on there. So the other just sad note for the XFL people is Jeremiah Spicer. He's a former, he was in the spring league and he was in XFL. He got cut, I guess. He had announced, he came out and tweeted this week, like, yeah, I'm not going to be playing in Fan Control Football. A lot of people thought, so they do something to upset him? Does he not like the game? Does he not like whatever? And I guess he got cut. So he's going to be playing in the indoor football league now. So Godspeed to Jeremiah.
Okay. And Renee Montgomery, one of the owners for the Beasts, retired from the WNBA after 11 seasons. I think she won 2 titles.
2 titles in the last 5 years.
In the WNBA. So happy trails to Renee. She's got great things coming up. She's going into activism, a lot of activism things Renee's got going on. So best of luck to her too.
Yeah, I saw you deleted the fact that the Great Clips announced that they are the official sponsor, the haircut sponsor. That's innovative. That's cool.
Great Clips.
Great Clips is the official sponsor for haircuts for the Fan Control Football.
Okay.
I mean, I know neither of us have hair. I wash my hair with a bar of soap. I mean, that's a little hair I have. But anyway, it's Great Clips is there you go.
Kudos. Great Clips.
Yeah, a couple last notes on this. Fan Control Football News they're live tweeting all this stuff. If you follow Fan Control Football News on Twitter, and then Vince with All Football Scout, really doing a good job tweeting all the players, the live tweeting, all that. If you want to keep up on all that, I had it on the whole time in the background, but I'll admit that, it's long. It's just a lot. So if you want to get kind of the stuff that way, that's a good thing. And then I was making fun of the owners, like Marshawn and Renee and everybody for not being on the live feed for the draft. Patrick D said a lot of the owners are flying in for the game Saturday. He said Marshawn and all those people are coming in. So what do you think about that? Because they've been very quiet so far.
Looking forward to that. I know they've been very quiet. And Miro's ducking us still because he's a coward. So looking forward to actually seeing him in the owner's box on Saturday, or it's Saturday. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing him in the owner's box on Saturday down there for Fan Controlled Football.
they tried to get Richard Sherman in to do like a Zoom call, and it was like every Zoom call that you've ever been on in the last year. Like, I can't hear you. Like we're trying to talk, like, cause like the music's like blasting, and he's like, I can't. So they cut him out. Greg called in on like speakerphone, cause like Greg was, it's all live. So it was cool that like Greg Miller was like literally like would just pick up the phone and like call Patrick and be like, you're full of poop or whatever, like, but he was like making fun. It was kind of, it's cool. It's more interactive that way. I like that aspect of it. And if you can get some of the involvement, that's why I think, Greg Miller is a better type of host than maybe, or owner than maybe Marshawn in doing stuff like that. I think that this league strives for more of that sort of, crap talking, live interactive stuff, but you got to have the players there. Or the owners.
And speaking of Richard Sherman, he said recently that he's going to do 2 more seasons in the NFL and then call it a career. I want Seattle to bring him back. I want him to end his career where it started. I would really like that, but I think he's going to go to Las Vegas.
You think he's going to the Raiders?
I think he's going to the Raiders.
Wow. Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
And Russell Wilson's not going to the Raiders either. Someone posted an article last night that said, here's all the reasons Russell Wilson should go to the Raiders. And something about Sierra having a residency. Stupid. Russell's not going anywhere.
I've shared the story when I called Richard Sherman Russell Wilson, right? Have I shared that on the podcast? Are we going too long? Is that okay for Reed to share this real quick?
Share it real quick.
When I was back at Q13, they had just signed Russell Wilson and Richard Sherman. I did not know a lot of football stuff at the time. Like, I just moved back to Seattle. I didn't know any of this stuff. And so Richard Sherman was doing like a signing at Dick's Hamburgers. And so they go, hey, you got to go and you got to go interview him for Q13. And then you got to get him. Aaron Levine, sports director, was like, you need to get him to say, hey, I'm Richard Sherman. You're listening to Q It Up Sports. Cause that was like our, you want it, like, we need to get people to say that, like you're listening to the Markcast, like I'm Cole Boozer or whatever. And so the whole time I'm like, okay, it's like, what's it? Cause I just knew there were 2 big stars just got signed. One was Richard, one was Russell. I was like, I'm going to mess this up. And so we get down there and, Richard Sherman is kind of an intimidating guy. And I was not used to like interviewing sports people at all. And I go up, I'm like, hi. I was like, before we start, can you go, hi, I'm Sherman. Can you, he's like, what? I'm like, can you say hi, it's Russell Sherman? And he's like, my name is Richard. And I was like, I'm so sorry, sir.
Reed, not that you meant to do this, but there's a lot of instances where that happens, specifically to Black people. I hate to get woke here, but there was a morning show reporter here in LA that mixed up Samuel L. Jackson and Morgan Freeman once.
Wow.
And it's like it's almost not saying you're racist, but that's the connotation kind of.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So. My thing was it could have been any athlete in the world. It could have been.
It was an honest mistake. There were 2 high profile draft picks. It's an honest mistake. It really was.
It's not as bad as the guy that got paid to cover the Super Bowl asking the offensive coordinator, Todd Bowles questions or whatever after the Super Bowl. That was, I'm like, you were paid to fly in. They are doing stuff outside my window. Hang on, vamp.
Okay, I'm vamping right now. XFLshow.com/ and we got a phone call coming into my computer. XFLshow.com/merch to buy your XFL Markcast merch. Also, XFLshow.com/review to leave us a review. So I vamped.
Anyway, but that was bad. I'm like, you were paid to fly in to cover the Super Bowl. I'm like, you don't even know. You're confusing the 2 black. Like, I was like, that was really bad.
Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles look nothing alike.
No, they don't look anything alike at all.
Look anything alike at all, in any way, shape, or form. How do you mess that up?
Anyway, so just we're going to get me down with finger tool stuff, but just big weekend Saturday. We got the 2 games, Glacier Boys and the Wild Aces, and then the Beasts and the Zappers. I'm going to be there. Everyone's really excited to watch. So it should be fun. The teams are set. Vince thinks that all the teams were pretty even. All Football Scout Report. Again, go to his Twitter. He's got all the breakdowns of all the teams and the ratings and stuff. But he thought overall it just went really well. The draft went good. There was no big snafus. Everybody looked excited. It looked high end. All the things that you would want if you're, investing in this league. I know Matt, again, he, like people that are paying money for this, it looked really good. So just, really, I have some nitpicks, but overall, I would say positive so far.
All right, so we got to take another break because we're running a little bit long, Reed. And when we come back, because the commercials, the audio distributor wants to put the commercials in. When we come back, we'll finish up
Spring League and garbage stuff. Sorry. Well, you got to tease sometimes, like what's coming up on the show.
No, they always know it's the stuff that annoys me.
Well, but we have Spring League stuff first. This is, we got some big stuff.
Spring League signings, Conquerors, kicker, punter, Matt Mangel. Hopefully, Matt Mangle.
Big. This is huge. People love Matt. Matt's a big video game streamer. He is like fans. Everyone loves Matt. He kicked the longest field goal ever at the Spring League in the championship game. He got signed to the CFL. It's good for him. People love Matt. And so this is all kudos to him. Nuker like 46 or whatever on Twitter.
Going to the Montreal Alouettes. The Jousters defensive back Cameron Kelly going to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And then Shaquille Cooper is heading to the BC Lions after 2 seasons at Edmonton. So there you go.
Yeah, so a couple other notes on this. So we talk about these signings a lot. I was talking with Vince this week. Remember last year when the CFL canceled and we told Chad Ochocinco and he didn't know, and remember all that? So a lot of these players that were in the Spring League this year should have been in the CFL already, right?
Got it.
So a lot of this, hey, and I like covering the stuff and talking about the players and jousters and all that stuff, but it is interesting that they're kind of taking credit for hey, look at this player. They went from the Spring League to the CFL. And it's well, that did he really? Or they just wanted to play and they just took some time. So anyway, so I just thought that was an interesting note. Cole McDonald, the one exception, he got signed, I believe, to the Cardinals. I'm so sorry. Last week we talked about it. He is the one exception of a Spring League guy, came in, played, got signed in the NFL. But some of these people are can we look that up?
The Titans. Cole McDonald went to the Titans.
No, Cole, he signed to they signed him. The Cardinals signed him to a futures contract. I just thought that
he used to play for the Titans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry. Anyway, I just want to be correct. Josh Johnson, I hate to be incorrect about facts about anything. Also, I heard from friend of the show, Brian Woods,
merch.
Kenny, I'm working on it. I know Kenny, we were tweeting this week, Patrick Deese, I guess, is going to send Kenny and I Fan Control Football merch. Kenny, I'm working on Brian. I was emailing Brian this week. He says they've got the TV stuff's all ready to go for the Spring League. Kickoff is in May. He's going to follow up. And I want to get him back on the show to talk about all that. So works out well for us timing wise, because we got, February, March, April for Fan Control Football. And then we go back to the spring. I know Paul is so excited but hey, we're theoretically a year or so more away from XFL. So I think that is a good time for us for the podcast. I'm glad Brian consulted with us for Spring League kicking off in May after Fan Control Football.
Cool. And other news. Alex Smith,
things that annoy Paul at the end of the show. This is our famous.
Here's what annoys me about this. There's going to be something that annoys me about this story. Alex Smith earns 49 out of 50 votes for AP Comeback Player of the Year, and Ben Roethlisberger got 1 vote.
Was that a pity vote?
Who was the 50th vote?
Was that a joke?
That's like Derek Jeter getting every vote for the Hall of Fame except one. Who is the one? Who is the one?
Ben didn't come back from anything. I mean, from a bad season, right? But was he injured last year?
I don't remember. That's how much I don't pay attention. Well, yeah, he was injured because that was the whole Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph incident.
So
Mason Rudolph was quarterback for a while.
That's right.
How is that not unanimous for Alex Smith? They should rename the Comeback Player of the Year award for Alex Smith.
Yeah. No,
because of the story behind that. That's what annoys me. Who's the 50th vote? Out yourself, coward.
What was it? And then Aaron Rodgers got 46 or whatever, and then Josh Allen got 4, and then Patrick Mahomes got 2 votes for MVP. Do you agree with Aaron Rodgers?
I agree with the awards there. Russell, early on in the season, we were 6-7 weeks in, and Russell was looking like the front runner, and then he get 1 vote. I don't know what's happening, but Russell, of course, came out the other day, and said that he needs more protection. I agree. The year they went to the Super Bowl, they had one of the best offensive lines. Yeah. We need to give Russell a little bit more time back there. Yeah, he can scramble. He can make things happen with his legs. But he shouldn't always have to make things happen with his legs. So let's get Russell some support and let's get him an MVP award and let's get another Super Bowl title while we're at it.
Yeah. Anyway, just thoughts on that. And then did you enjoy the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it was historically significant that Kansas went back and couldn't score a touchdown. I mean, I think that was
the first time in like 2 years they've not scored a touchdown, a passing touchdown, something like that. Yeah. Some kind of insane stat that they've had a passing touchdown every week since like the second week of Patrick Mahomes' career there in Kansas City, and that's remarkable to me. It's remarkable that the defense was that good. Like Jason Pierre-Paul with his 2.5 fingers and Ndamukong Suh, like these people put pressure on Patrick all night. And I understand the Kansas City offensive line wasn't as good as it was early on in the season. I get that completely. But yeah. And of course, there was a halftime show as well we need to talk about because there was a lot of people that were like, well, what did the Weeknd? Why is the Weeknd doing this? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, just because you haven't heard of someone doesn't mean they're not relevant. And I had a friend who said, well, we should get an artist that appeals to all people. And then threw up like country music artists. And I'm thinking,
that's not appeal to everybody.
No, that's not appealing to everybody. That's like more people know who The Weeknd is than they know who Eric Church is.
Or at least that song. You might not. You're like, oh yeah, I've heard that. I mean, that song's been everywhere for a year. I mean, you had to have your head under a rock to not know that song.
I know, and the thing is, like, I've been a Weeknd fan for years. Like, I've been listening since House of Balloons dropped. So, like, when he busted out the song right before Blinding Lights, which is House of Balloons, it samples Susie Sue from Susie and the Banshees. I was like, oh my god, he's doing some old school Weeknd stuff. So I was like really excited about that. I didn't think his performance was as good as it normally is when you pay to go see him. Like he seemed kind of out of breath a little bit.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot of hustle.
Yeah, there was a lot of running around. He apparently his jacket weighed a ton too. That's what he was saying. It was like all those crystals on the jacket made it weigh like 35 pounds. It was like a bulletproof vest. So I thought it could have been better, but still it's the Weeknd and I don't think you can do anything wrong by me. I mean, you look at his track record. I mean, he's had a number one album every time he releases an album. It goes to number one since Beauty Behind the Madness. The first time Daft Punk ever had a number one hit, it was with The Weeknd. They've been out for years, and the first time they ever reached number one, they didn't even do it with Get Lucky with Pharrell. Like The Weeknd, got them their first number one hit, Daft Punk. So to disrespect The Weeknd like that, I felt the slander was unwarranted. So I did like it. Thought it could have been better, but I did like it.
He had said Weeknd famously said he wasn't going to have any guest musicians, but he did have Slipknot came out and was in the hallway with him with all the. I was like, wow, is that Corey? Is that Corey Taylor? Were Slipknot running around the hallways with The Weeknd with the face mask on? That was wild.
When he did that, when he did a thing where he's looking around the room like, oh, here's a meme.
Yeah,
I saw it coming.
That was nuts, man.
There's a meme. Here we go. I have also one last thing that annoys me. Can you email our contacts this time instead of like getting me to publicly shame them on Twitter?
Yeah, that was.
I publicly shame a guy. And he's like, "Let this." It was a little bit passive aggressive. Greg, you were a little bit passive aggressive. He's like, "Let this be a lesson to email your contacts to let them know when the podcasts are live."
I correspond with every one of my guests except Brian Wood, CEO of Spring League. That's the only one I really email. And now Greg Miller of Kind of Funny. So yes, I will email. I assume the 87 retweets and all the comments and everything would have come across. But that is I will take one on the chin for that one. That was my bad.
I get publicly shamed for that. I publicly shame him for that, and then he responds it was sort of passive aggressive. Yeah. It was a little passive aggressive, to be honest. So I'm like, Reed, you could have just saved this with it. And I understand you don't want to bother people except Paul Sanchez for some reason.
I don't like to bother people. I like to just put my notes in the Google Doc, and then every week you show up and it's just like nuggets of gold. So did you like that when you said, you go, why is the Google Doc 3 pages? I'm like, what is this gold talking? And it's a guy, because it's all money on here. It's all money, except I would say in 27 weeks, my first swing and a miss was that Westerman Media deal.
Yeah,
I mean, really, but I am pretty good with the track record here. Like I'm not,
things that are relevant. That was definitely not relevant. I mean, that was like you're batting 99.9%. That was
gonna come out though. Watch tomorrow. They're gonna come out and it's gonna be like announce whatever with partnership. I'm like, I'm glad we talked about that on the podcast.
Well, I mean, then again, you probably get a message from Van or something. So time to wrap things up.
Yeah.
Again, xflshow.com/review to leave us a review. xflshow.com/merch to buy some merch. Support your boys. Support the podcast. We appreciate everything you do for us and listening to us every week. Give us a subscribe. Like us on YouTube and subscribe to YouTube. Of course, we're waiting for the 1,000 subscriber mark.
We're adding up there. I will say, yeah, and like if you're the first comment on the YouTube and it's like I've just posted, it's like 7 a.m, just leave a nice comment. I post these live in real time. Like, yeah, I know you do automate the thing and then I go up and I post the YouTube stuff. I don't need the first comment like this title doesn't make sense, incorrect. Like just hey, thanks for taking the time. Is making the show. Thanks. That's fine. That works too.
Can I mention before you interrupt me again? Can I mention that we're going to give away the autographed football by Chad Ochocinco?
Yeah. Sorry.
If we hit 1,000. So subscribe to us on YouTube and you could possibly win an autographed football from Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah. We are adding viewership is up. I'm very excited about that. We've added a bunch of, xflshow.com/YouTube. Thanks. Sorry.
Awesome.
I'm not talking.
So, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next week with some more, probably some fan controlled football news, maybe some XFL news. We'll be back next week.